All right, day one of the Wonderland Trail. Here we are, about a mile into the hike. So far, feeling a really heavy backpack. We've got 7 days worth of food with us. We're both huffing and puffing that first mile. And I guess the good news is we only have 92 to go.
92 to go indeed, of a 93-mile hike with 27,800 feet of climbing and 27,800 feet of down climbing. Luckily, on that first day, we were only hiking from Longmire to Maple Creek, 10.9 miles of hiking with exactly 2,600 feet of elevation gain and 2,600 feet of descending.
We're descending now.
Day 2 from Maple Creek to White River featured 22 miles of hiking.
Day 2, Wonderland Trail. The trail never lets us have an easy moment. It's always really steep up or really steep down. But we finally made it to what we came here for, which is Mount Rainier. There it is in all of her glory.
Well, here we are, day 2, the big 20-mile day. We've got a ways to go to our next campground, and the day's getting shorter, but, staying positive.
After hours of steep uphill climbing over the Cowitz Divide, we eventually made it to the Indian Bar.
Well, here we are at the Indian Bar. Feeling a little sleepy. Just over 10 miles into the day, which means just about 10 more miles to go. So it's 10 till 5 p.m. So we're right on schedule if, we're trying to get to camp at midnight. So keep you posted there. Feeling a little fatigued, but we've got our biggest climb coming up right here, just about a mile and a half of straight shooting up. And then it's all downhill for the rest of the day, which is going to be crazy turnaround.
Challenging in its own right.
Because my knees, they're feeling weak.
A total of 7,100 feet of up climbing and 5,500 feet of down climbing. Day 2 was an epic adventure of going up, and down, barreling over, giving everything we had just to make it over the Panhandle Gap before the sun started to set.
It's too cold to actually soak our feet.
Eventually making it up to 6,800 feet. This was the highest point on the entire Wonderland Trail, overlooking the Panhandle Glacier with Mount Rainier glistening in the background.
Wow.
Here we are at the top. We made it up Indian Box. It was an emotional journey, but here we are, enjoying the fruits of our labor. Still a ways to go from our goal, but the sun hasn't set yet. Wow, okay, so just about a mile more till Summerland, which would be great if we were camping there. Unfortunately, we're not.
No, the distance between Summerland and White River was well over 6 miles.
Well, here we are night hiking. It's almost 11 p.m. We're still going. Not the most scenic, but, they say the best hikers start early. And maybe we're just here a little sooner than the best hikers.
So we thought we were 1 mile away from camp for the last hour, and we just found a sign that says we are 2.3 miles away from our campsite, and it's almost 11. We arrived at camp at midnight last night. We finished it. That 2.3 was the longest 2.3 miles of both of our lives, I can assume. We ended up walking up the campsite road instead of taking the trail, thinking we could get, you know, some hitchhiking action, but yeah, no one stopped for us. So it was a long journey.
And despite not getting picked up as hitchhikers, eventually around 1:15, we started hiking from White River to Mystic Camp, a 12.2 mile day with 4,300 feet of climbing and 3,000 feet of down climbing.
People out here, it's 6:15 p.m. We started around 1:15 p.m.
Can't really complain. We just have about 5 or 6 more miles to our next camp, and we'll see how soon we can get there.
Unfortunately for us, leaving for the hike so late meant absolutely getting to the Mystic Camp after dark. Nonetheless, we had a 0 day waiting for us.
Well, here we are, day 4. This is our 0 days.
0.
So we don't have to backpack. It's funny, a group of hikers is here at the camp. I think they got here before 1:30 or 1:15. Before we had even left yesterday, but after a little bit of a night hike, we eventually made it. And now the only thing we have to do today is get fucked up.
All right, little food highlight. Apparently Faster Feast was a lot more food highlighting, so gotta talk a little bit about the food we're having. What are we eating?
Yeah, we're having pesto pasta. We fried up some tofu, and we put in some olives. We would usually put some veggies in it, but we're running out, but we're backpacking. We also had some tequila with some mango. It's quite the cocktail.
Yum. The 0 day. An important step in the journey, halfway through our destination, almost done with the loop. But for the rest of the hike, we'd be looking at lots of smoke.
All right, day 5, we're leaving our mystical camp at Mystic Lake. It's a bit smoky today, so not breathing so easy, but legs are feeling at least marginally better.
Day 5 involved a 13.5 mile hike with 4,600 feet of elevation gain and 5,300 feet of elevation loss. After starting the day with a huge descent from Mystic Lake down to the Carbon River, we passed the lowest glacier in the continental United States, the Carbon Glacier, just going across Carbon River on this bridge. And then from there, we ventured off the Wonderland Trail to make way for the Spray Trail, where we would have approximately 3,000 feet of climbing up to Spray Park before eventually making our descent from Spray Park all the way down to Mowich Lake, where we would be camping for the evening. You know, even after the 0 day, this was still one of the hardest days of hiking and definitely challenged us both mentally and physically, getting up over the loose rock and scrambling through the spray.
Well, here we are. Smoky, smoky day on the trails.
Despite us actually leaving the Wonderland Trail to go up the Spray Trail, we did add a couple miles of hiking and several thousand feet of climbing to our day. That said, getting up to the top of the Spray Trail was one of the most beautiful sections of the hike and was relatively worth it, given that this 13.5 mile day was still one of our shorter days.
We're at Mowich Lake. Super pretty lake, but very crowded campsite. Look at that, hauling around coconut milk, curry, and veggies and tofu. All this time just to be eating this good on day 5.
Day 6 from Mowich Lake to Clapatchie Park would feature 18 miles of hiking with 5,200 feet of climbing and 4,600 feet of descending.
Well, here we are, day 6. Whew! Yeah, really battling the demons today. We've got an 18-mile day. We're about 5 miles in, so taking it one step at a time. Just made it past the South Mowich River, making our way up to the Golden Lakes. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm struggling.
Well, here we are at the Golden Lakes, about 10 miles in to our big 18-mile day so far. Feeling strong. definitely looking at that Golden Lake thinking, man, I'd love to be camping here. That's why we're not even going to show you in the film. We're not even going to go over and show you how nice the lake is, because look at that. We still have, oh, what's that? 6.1 miles to go. Oh no, if only.
No.
7.8 miles to go. Okay, wow, that's right. Hello, bear. Hi, bear. Hey, bear. Hey, bear. Hey, bear. Hey, bear. Hello, bear.
Hey, cutie. Keep walking.
Hey, bear.
Hey, bear.
Hey, bear.
Hey, bear. At least dinner's easy.
Yeah,
Right.
not gonna take very long to cook that.
Throw some beans in there. Oh, yeah. So, great news. We only have 2.9 miles left to our campsite, and we've been surprisingly fast today. I think we might actually get there before the sun sets.
Yes, the mileage was short, but oh boy, the vertical gains we had to do for the rest of the day. Arguably one of the hardest parts of the entire hike. Those last 3 miles of that 18-mile day, they challenged us. But
Wow, that is one more chanterelle than we found all during Faster Feast. It's too little to take, but there's little other ones coming up too. Well, here we are, night 6, the final night. Brutal hike up to Clepatchy Lake, which, as it turns out, is completely dry. But funny enough, while we were making our 3,000-foot ascent, we were blessed with all of these chanterelles.
Yeah.
All of the mushrooms we couldn't find on Faster Feast.
And despite the dried up lake, Clepatchy really was our most beautiful campsite and the perfect last place to camp on our week-long expedition.
Trail, we're hiking out. We can both barely walk today, huffing and puffing up this climb, but just about 15 miles to go before we get to the car.
Day 7 was still a 16.4 mile hike.
Well, here we are, day 7. We just made it up, our biggest descent of the day. We're gonna do a long descent, and then we have our last descent of the hike left. So, feeling a little tummy problems, feeling a little muscle achy. My left tendon is, Achilles tendon is really bothering me, but you know, we're too close to the finish line to give up now.
You know, of course, before doing the hike, the question was, is this going to be a true sequel to Faster Feast? Are we going to bring food, or are we going to forage the mushrooms and the berries? And ultimately, we had decided, let's just do the hike. It's 93 miles. It's going to be exhausting enough with or without food. And, you know, maybe not even bringing food and having lighter packs would have made those first couple days easier. So we're like, okay, fine. We'll bring food. We'll try to do it, but we're going to try to do it in less than a week, because that will be hard in its own right. And, oh my God, it was. But I couldn't stop thinking of other ways that I could gamify it.
Well, here we are, day 7, and would you look at that, Longmire? 7 miles left.
And you know, that day 7, that was a lot of down climbing. Oh my goodness, my knees are still trembling thinking of all that down climbing. But eventually, after 93 total miles of hiking, 27,800 feet of climbing, and 27,800 feet of descending, we had completed the Wonderland. And you know, it would have been fun to do something like Faster Feast. There's a popular beer around Rainier called Rainier. It would have been fun to drink a Rainier every mile, and you know, we had thought about it, we had bought a case, but then packing 93 beers is like way too heavy, even for a bit. And we just thought, okay, doing it in a week, that's actually probably more than enough time. Honestly, too little time. If I could do it again, more time, please. Those days were crazy, huge elevation gains and descents throughout it. Definitely one of the best hikes in the world, certainly one of the best hikes I've ever done. Absolutely going to come up with a better bit if I do another backpacking video. And to add some reference, this hike was a lot harder than Faster Feast.